Quotes that I found today was, worry doesn't take the sorrow out of tomorrow, it just takes the happiness out of today. And kind of goes along with exactly what you were saying. Our second speaker is Laurie Musick Wright. Laurie is a professional graphic designer and visual communicator. She is a Reiki master and a bioenergetic massage and Shen touch therapist. She has learned to change her life by changing her thoughts. She is working from the Entertainment Speaker Manual, Project 4, A Dramatic Talk. The title of her speech is Papi Love. Please welcome Laurie Musick Wright.
Have you ever hesitated when you've been asked to go someplace or do something because you're not quite sure about how things will come out? And then you say yes, despite your hesitation, and you realize at the end of the experience, wow, if I hadn't had gone and done this, I would have missed out on something really special. Well, this recently happened to me. Now, I've shared before that I'm a Reiki master. I also volunteer for the Rutland Visiting Nurse Association hospice program. So occasionally I get called, along with some other folks, to deliver Reiki treatments to people that are actively passing. Now, I got a call one day and I wasn't feeling really good. And I thought, I really can't do this. If he's still with us tomorrow, give me a call and I will do it. So the next day, the gentleman was still with us, and I got the call, and I said, well, I'm meant to be there, so I'm going to go and visit with this family. So the hospice coordinator just happened to mention very briefly that this particular man's wife practiced Native American spiritual traditions. And so something in my mind told me to go grab the bag of sage that I had on my shelf in my office. Now, if he hadn't mentioned that, I wouldn't have the sage, or wouldn't have even thought to bring the sage, of course. So I drove out to this town and found the house. And there on the front porch are a number of family members who are visiting with the wife and the daughters. And I said to them, am I in the right place? And they said, yes, welcome, come right in. So I went into the house, and our patient was in the living room in a hospital bed. And he was resting, and everything was fine with him. And I asked his wife, said, I just happen to have this sage. Would you like to burn it? And she says, oh my goodness, wouldn't that be wonderful? Please do. So one of the two daughters took the sage, and she said, I'll burn the sage. So she took this job on, and she opened it up, started lighting it, and the smoke was going everywhere. And all of a sudden, I went to the edge of the bed to get started, and I asked if they had some Native American drumming music that they could play. And sure enough, the other daughter said, oh, I'll find the music. So she got her iPhone and she called it right up. And so all of a sudden we had sage burning and Native American music. And I started the Reiki treatment. Now, let's imagine that his head was on my left here. And so his shoulders would be here, and his arms and his feet down about here. And so I started over his head, and I was listening to the music and intent on sort of getting into the flow of the Reiki energy. One of the reasons why I do Reiki is because I can feel the benefits of how this energy affects you, your mental state, your body. And as I give, I receive the same energy. So the more I give, the more I receive. So it's very, very interesting process that I find to be very rewarding to share. So, okay, I'm on his head, and I'm up here, and we start, and I'm down on his shoulders, and this is hands on, and he's resting peacefully. I get to his arms, his forearms, his wrists, and I rest my hands on his hands right here. And all of a sudden, I look up, and all the people that were out on the porch had come inside. And so we had this huge family gathering, and the sage was burning, the music, it was just absolutely beautiful. But I looked across the bed, and all of a sudden, this beautiful little 6-year-old girl appeared before me. Blonde, curly hair, just the most precious little being that I could ever imagine. And I looked at her, and she was looking at me, kind of very curious about what I was doing. And she looked up at me and she said, "He's my Papi." Well, it was all I could do to hold myself together. And I said, "Yes, we're here to give your Papi love." And I stuck up my finger like this, and I said, "Grab my finger." And so here's this little beautiful girl, and she hesitates, but she grabs my finger. And all of a sudden, here we are together giving Reiki. And we go up his arms, back up his arms, and I say to her, "Tell your Papi that you love him." And she says, "Papi, I love you. I love you." Go up to the head. Now as I notice, everyone was in the room was with us and following along, and we come back down to the arms. And I say to her, "Okay, let go, and follow me." And so over the legs, I take and sweep my hands. And we're going down his legs to his feet. And so we start swooping like this beautiful symphony of energy along Papi's body. And I notice that she's no longer following me. She's doing her own thing. So I then decide to follow her. And so here I go. I'm following her, and all of a sudden, she's the Reiki master, and I'm sharing Papi Love with her. Now, after a little bit, she says, "Can I go back to my mommy now?" And I said, "Oh, yes, you can go back to your mommy." And so she departs, and I finish the treatment, and we're done, and the music stops, and the sage stops, and his wife and daughters thank me very much for the time and sharing that I had delivered to them. And I noticed, before I took my hands off it, Papi was not ready to go. He wasn't ready to leave. He kind of liked this. I could just feel this connection with him. And so I left, and I walked back out, and everybody had gone out to the porch. And I said to them, "Thank you for sharing your love story with me." And I went into my car, and I noticed as I was driving away that the little girl was out on the front lawn all by herself, skipping and playing. And I stopped the car, because I hadn't seen her before, and I waved goodbye to her. And there's two important lessons here for me. Number one is to really take a chance and go for that experience that you're hesitating with, because you never know what kind of miracle can happen. in the next moment of this experience. And the next thing is that I could actually feel love. I could feel the exchange of love with this young girl. And I thanked her in my way for sharing Papi Love with me. And I suspect that she really wasn't playing alone on the lawn. I think that Papi was already out there playing with her. And he passed the next morning. And I thank everyone for sharing Papi Love with me here tonight. Thank you.